Once, these bags were just status symbols. Now, some are about to become the smartest investments in fashion history. Think about it. Iconic brands that everyone used to chase are either oversaturated or fading into irrelevance. The landscape has shifted. What used to guarantee prestige now sits on resale sites gathering digital dust. Yet hidden gems are quietly climbing in value while the rest of us sleep. The smart money isn't chasing what's obvious anymore. Which bags are about to double in value? And how did some of the world's most coveted brands fall so fast? We've analyzed 11 luxury bags from worst to best, ranked by investment potential, resale trajectory, and the kind of scarcity that makes collectors lose sleep. The number one bag might completely change how you think about collecting luxury. If you're serious about investing in fashion, every second counts. These bags won't stay under the radar for long. The collectors who understand value are already moving. The question is, are you? Because here's the truth. The fashion world doesn't want you to know. Most luxury bags are terrible investments, but the right ones? They're about to make early adopters very, very wealthy. Let's expose which brands are collapsing and which are about to explode. 11. Gucci. Remember 2015 to 2018? The Gigi, Marmont, and Dionysus represented bold, modern luxury. Influencer status wrapped in quilted leather. Alessandro Michele reinvented the house, and suddenly everyone wanted in. It felt fresh, exciting, different. Then oversaturation killed the dream. Overlogging reduced exclusivity to background noise. When every influencer, every celebrity, every aspirational buyer floods the market with the same bag, the mystique evaporates. The secondary market went stagnant. Resale often falls below retail now, a death sentence in luxury. What was once aspirational became common streetwear. Walk through any major city and count the GG logos. They're everywhere. A hit sitcom. Everyone rewatched until they couldn't stand the theme song anymore. An overplayed pop song that makes you change the station. Gucci made a fatal mistake. They prioritized volume over exclusivity. They democratized their mystique. And in luxury, democracy equals death. The data doesn't lie. Resale platforms show Gucci bags languishing. The waiting lists disappeared. The hunger vanished. Gucci shows how trend fatigue starts the slide. When hype becomes ubiquity, value collapses. Next, Prada proves even cult status isn't immune. 10. Akira Prada. The late 2010s brought the re-edition nylon revival, Y2K style. Cult favorite energy. The kind of bag fashion insiders whispered about in dim-lit cafes. The ones who remembered when Miuccia Prada made nylon revolutionary instead of practical. For a moment, it worked. Vintage Prada became cool again. The triangular logo meant something. Then the trend bubble burst. No enduring heritage icon emerged. Unlike Chanel's flap or Hermès's Birkin, Prada never created that one timeless silhouette everyone needs. Vintage Tessuto keeps value, sure, but overall resale remains unstable, unpredictable. The problem? Prada chased the trend instead of anchoring it. They rode the wave of Y2K nostalgia without creating something that transcended the moment, from exclusive cult to seen everywhere. A viral meme that fades fast. A limited sneaker without a fan base to defend it. Investment requires staying power. Prada couldn't deliver that promise. The bags that spiked in 2019 are now sitting on resale platforms at 60% of retail. Collectors learned a hard lesson. Cult status without iconic design is just temporary hype. Prada couldn't anchor itself to anything beyond the moment. Saint Laurent's trajectory teaches us that cool luxury can age faster than you expect. 9. Saint Laurent early 2020s. The Lulu and Cassandra were status-defining, sleek, edgy. The bag that said you knew what cool looked like before everyone else did. Heady. Slimaine's rock and roll aesthetic translated into leather that felt dangerous and refined simultaneously. For the right buyer, Saint Laurent represented rebellious sophistication. Not your mother's luxury, not safe. Then oversaturation crept in. Fewer iconic investment pieces emerged from the design churn. Resale stayed steady, but growth hit a ceiling. The bags became safe luxury rather than aspirational. When something becomes safe, it loses its edge. And in luxury, edge equals value. A reliable sedan, a side dish always on the menu but never the reason you came to the restaurant. Saint Laurent lost the edge that made it dangerous. The collection started feeling predictable. Buyers could anticipate what was coming, and anticipation kills desire. The resale market tells the story. Stable, yes, but flat. No dramatic spikes, no collector frenzy. Just there. Saint Laurent became background noise in a world where only the loudest whispers matter. Dior's fluctuating styles show how even heritage icons face volatility. 8. Dior. The Galliano era gave us drama. The saddle resurgence gave us nostalgia. Dramatic, collectible silhouettes that felt like wearable art. For a moment, Dior remembered it was supposed to be iconic, not just expensive. The saddlebag comeback in 2018 created genuine excitement. Collectors who'd stored their original saddles in closets suddenly had gold mines. Resale prices tripled, but frequent style shifts caused collector confusion. The saddle spikes, then crashes. The book tote becomes ubiquitous, then oversaturated. The general lineup becomes inconsistent, unpredictable, risky. What was aspirational became a gamble. Which Dior bag holds value depends on the month, the creative director, the influencer campaign, the celebrity endorsement. A cult TV episode only superfans remember. A remix track only DJs love. Dior couldn't commit to a singular vision long enough to build trust. Every new creative director brings a new aesthetic, a new signature bag, a new promise that this time will be different. Collectors hate uncertainty, they need reliability. Dior offers neither consistently. The result? Moderate resale with unpredictable spikes. Investment potential exists, but it requires expertise, timing, and luck. Celine proves minimalism can be a safe bet, if managed right. 7. Celine 2010 to 2015. The Triumph and Classic box defined quiet luxury, understated, elegant. The kind of bag that whispered wealth instead of screaming it. Phoebe Philo understood that true luxury doesn't need logos. It needs perfect proportions and impeccable leather. For those years, Celine represented intellectual luxury, the thinking woman's handbag. Minimal, architectural, timeless. But creative inconsistency weakened its position against competitors. When Hedi Slimane took over, the aesthetic shifted dramatically. The Philo loyalists felt betrayed. The new designs attracted different buyers, but alienated the core. Moderate resale. Some pieces spike, others plateau. Respected, yes, but slow-moving. Fine wine that takes decades to mature. An indie band with a devoted following but no mainstream breakout. The Philo-era pieces hold value beautifully. The classic box, the luggage tote, the trio, these are solid investments, but they appreciate slowly, steadily, without the explosive growth that excites collectors. Celine plays the long game, but patience doesn't always pay in fashion. The market moves fast. Trends accelerate. Waiting 5 years for 30% appreciation feels like losing when other bags double in 18 months. Celine is safe. Celine is stable. But Celine isn't exciting. Here's what connects all these declines: oversaturation and trend chasing. Every brand from now 11 to now 7 either flooded the market or chased trends instead of building timeless scarcity. The pattern isn't isolated. It affects almost every house. Gucci overproduced. Prada over-relied on nostalgia. Saint Laurent lost its edge. Dior changed direction too often. Celine moved too slowly. The brands that survive, they respect heritage and scarcity. They understand that luxury isn't about accessibility, it's about desire. And desire requires distance. The moment everyone can have something, nobody truly wants it anymore. This is the fundamental law of luxury investment. Scarcity drives value. If you're deep into this breakdown, hit like and subscribe, because the top bags we're about to reveal could truly double in value. This is where the real investment begins. The brands ahead understand what the failing ones forgot. Let's continue. 6. Balenciaga. Mid-2010s. The La City became an influencer must-have. Edgy, different. The anti-Chanel that still commanded respect. Balenciaga represented rebellious luxury, the bag that said you didn't play by traditional rules. For a few years, it worked beautifully. The motorcycle bags, the studs, the slouchy leather, all of it felt fresh in a world of structured, predictable luxury. But trend cycles outpaced classic anchoring. Balenciaga kept chasing the next big thing instead of perfecting the last one. The Triple S sneakers, the bizarre runway shows, the meme-worthy designs that generated press but confused collectors. Vintage La City is hot right now, yes, but general stock remains stagnant. The brand couldn't build a foundation beyond the moment. From must-have influencer to fleeting trend. A one-hit wonder. A cult classic film that never got a sequel. Here's the problem. Balenciaga prioritized virality over longevity. In the age of TikTok and Instagram, that seemed smart. But investment-grade luxury requires staying power. The resale data shows the truth. Vintage pieces from the Nicolas Ghesquière era appreciate. Everything else fluctuates wildly based on whatever Demna just put on the runway. Balenciaga shows what happens when you burn too bright too fast. Fireworks are spectacular, but they don't last. Bottega turns scarcity into a strategy. Collectors are snapping up. Bottega Veneta, the padded and intrecciato era, quiet luxury's flagship. No logos, just craftsmanship. The kind of bag that made people lean in and ask, "What is that?" The woven leather became instantly recognizable without screaming a brand name. Bottega Veneta understood the assignment. Create desire through artistry, not advertising. Then copycat saturation and overproduction dulled the shine. Everyone started making padded bags. The intrecciato weave got copied at every price point. What was once exclusive became familiar. But here's the twist. Andiamo and capsule limited editions are trending hard. Bottega learned its lesson. Under Daniel Lee and now Mathieu Blazy, the brand doubled down on scarcity. They deleted their Instagram. They limited production. They made it harder to buy, not easier. Exclusivity is whispering louder again. A whisper in a crowd that suddenly everyone strains to hear. A cult book that's going out of print. The resale market is responding. Limited releases sell out instantly and appreciate immediately. The Andiamo, the Calamero, the archival Intrecciato pieces, all climbing. Bottega is reclaiming scarcity, and collectors are paying attention. They're watching a brand remember what made it special in the first place. This is the turning point. From here, we're looking at bags that understand their power. Loewe shows how unique design can maintain investment appeal. Number 4. Loewe. The puzzle bag explosion. Understated chic with architectural precision. Avant-garde without alienating. The thinking person's luxury bag. Jonathan Anderson brought artistic credibility to a heritage house, creating designs that felt like sculptures you could wear. The puzzle bag became iconic quickly. Origami leather that defied traditional handbag structure. It photographed beautifully. It felt intellectual. But overexposure of the signature shape created fatigue. When one design defines a brand too completely, it becomes both an asset and a liability. The puzzle is everywhere now. The mystery dissolved into familiarity. Stable resale, yes, but limited upside beyond key pieces. The magic becomes known commodity. A breakout author's bestseller that everyone's already read. An anthem that's fading from the charts. Loewe still commands respect, absolutely. The craftsmanship remains impeccable. The artisan collaborations, the limited editions, the archival pieces. These maintain strong value. But the explosive growth phase is over. Loewe reached its ceiling. Collectors who bought puzzle bags in 2015 made money. Collectors buying now? They'll hold value, but they won't double it. Loewe still commands respect, but the mystery is gone. Now we move to true icons holding their investment value, the brands that have survived decades, weathered trends, and emerged stronger. Number 3, Chanel, the classic flap. Enduring heritage icon, timeless, quilted. The bag that screams, "I've made it," without saying a word. Coco Chanel created it. Karl Lagerfeld perfected it. Generations of women have coveted it. This is the bag your grandmother owned, your mother saved for, and you dream about. The interlocking C's, the chain strap, the quilted leather, instantly recognizable across continents and generations. But aggressive price hikes are limiting aspirational buyers. The dream is pricing itself out of reach. Chanel has raised prices relentlessly. A classic flap that cost $4,900 in 2019 now retails for nearly $10,000. The increases outpace inflation, outpace wage growth, outpace reason. The classic flap retains value, absolutely, but growth is slower than Hermes, a steady blue-chip stock. A timeless radio hit everyone knows, but nobody rushes to buy. Here's the reality. Chanel is aspirational, yet ubiquitous. Walk through any upscale neighborhood and count the classic flaps. They're everywhere, which means they're nowhere special. Resale holds at 80–90% of retail for classic styles. Good, yes, but not exceptional, not doubling, not explosive. Chanel represents safety, stability, tradition. For conservative investors, perfect. For those seeking dramatic appreciation, look elsewhere. The brand banks on heritage, but heritage alone doesn't create scarcity. And without scarcity, there's no explosion. Louis Vuitton proves mass appeal can still create collector-worthy pieces, if you know where to look. Number 2, Louis Vuitton, the never full, the speedy, global aspiration in monogram form. For decades, these bags represented the ultimate treasure, the gateway to luxury, the first real bag millions of people ever purchased. Louis Vuitton mastered something incredible, becoming both accessible and aspirational. They created desire at scale, but accessibility and volume dampened rarity. When everyone can have it, is it still special? The monogram canvas is instantly recognizable. It's also incredibly common. Resale stays stable for core pieces. Rare collabs spike, the supreme. Collaboration, the Yayoi Kusama pieces, the artist collaborations. But the core lineup? A reliable ETF. A mainstream pop song that's always on the radio, but never makes you stop and listen. Here's where Louis Vuitton gets interesting. The limited editions, the archival trunks, the special orders. These appreciate dramatically because they combine the brand's cachet with actual scarcity. A standard speedy, stable, a customized trunk from the Asnières workshop. Investment gold. Louis Vuitton is the people's luxury, and that's both its strength and its ceiling. The brand will never collapse. The resale will never crash. But mass-produced pieces won't explode either. For investors, the strategy is clear. Avoid the obvious, hunt the rare. Finally, the ultimate bag for serious collectors. The one poised to truly double in value. Number 1, Goyard, always rare, always an insider favorite. No online sales, no advertising, no explanation needed. If you know, you know. Goyard represents everything modern luxury forgot: restraint, scarcity, mystique. While other brands flooded Instagram and hired influencers, Goyard stayed silent. You can't buy Goyard online. You can't get it from third-party retailers. You have to visit one of their limited boutiques or travel to Paris. The brand makes you work for it, and that difficulty creates desire. Goyard never declined because Goyard never oversaturated. Scarcity was always the strategy. They didn't chase growth. They protected mystique. The signature chevron pattern is hand-painted. The St. Louis tote, the Saigon, the Belle Chasse. Each one carries history dating back to 1853. This isn't fashion. This is heritage. 132% resale retention, climbing year over year. These numbers don't lie. While Gucci crashes and Prada stagnates, Goyard appreciates. Bags purchased 5 years ago sell for more than retail today. Vintage pieces command premiums. Limited colors create bidding wars. This is the status whisper that signals true insider knowledge. The vintage record collectors fight over. The quiet whisper that becomes a shout when the right people hear it. Goyard doesn't chase trends. It doesn't beg for attention. It doesn't compromise exclusivity for quarterly earnings. It just waits for the smart collectors to find it. And when they do, the value doubles. Because Goyard understood what all the failing brands forgot. Luxury isn't about being seen by everyone. It's about being understood by the right people. The bags are getting harder to find. The boutiques maintain wait lists. The prices keep rising. And collectors who understand this moment are buying everything they can. From Gucci to Goyard, this ranking reveals a brutal truth. Scarcity, heritage, and smart design drive future value. Oversaturation kills mystique. Accessibility murders exclusivity. Logomania destroys desire. But the brands that maintain scarcity and honor their heritage, they don't just hold value, they explode. The pattern is clear. Brands that chased volume collapsed. Brands that maintained mystery thrived. Brands that respected their archives appreciated. Brands that constantly reinvented confused collectors. Expect quiet luxury, limited drops, and collector frenzy to dominate the next 2 to 3 years. The smartest buyers aren't chasing logos anymore. They're focusing on heritage plus scarcity. They're hunting brands that understand restraint. The death of Instagram luxury is coming. The rise of insider knowledge is here. The bags that appreciate are the ones most people can't access, don't understand, and won't recognize. Luxury is more than logos. It's culture, status, investment. The bags poised to double are the ones that respect both history and the art of staying hidden. Subscribe now because the next wave of collectible luxury bags won't stay under the radar for long. The insiders are already buying. The smart money is already moving. The opportunity is already shrinking. The insiders are already buying. Will you? The difference between watching values double and watching them collapse is understanding this fundamental truth. In luxury, less is always more. Scarcity isn't a marketing strategy. It's the only strategy that survives. The bags that will double are already here. The question is whether you'll recognize them before everyone else does.